Found near Brian Laundrie's personal items in a Florida wildlife park.
The House is deciding whether to hold Steve Bannon in contempt of Congress. I'm Skyler Henry on Capitol Hill with the role lawmakers say the former Trump advisor played in the January 6th attack and why he's refusing to testify.
Also, how you can avoid becoming a victim of fake social media accounts.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The city of Joplin is banking on a November vote to help boost its revenue stream. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes, voters on November 2nd will decide whether or not to approve a use tax for the city of Joplin. Now, a use tax is the city's sales tax applied to online purchases. Online retailers like Amazon currently only charge the state's use tax, but not the city's. The city plans to use the funds to address issues identified in the city manager's recent listening tour. Missouri's WIC program is increasing the cash value benefit for some products. The program announced Wednesday the benefit for fruit and vegetable purchases would increase to $24 a month for children, $43 a month for pregnant and postpartum mothers, and $47 a month for breastfeeding mothers. To avoid delay, eligible participants have until November 1st to contact their local WIC office to schedule an appointment to load the additional funds on their eWIC debit card. Well, we had a beautiful night to gaze at the full moon. When we have another opportunity tonight, Michael Hayslip joins us with the first look at the forecast.
I love you to death. Your answer is no. That's because as we approach sunset, we're going to have cloud cover move in. That's not a bad thing because a little bit chilly this morning, right? Had wind chills drop as low as 37 degrees pre-sunrise. That cloud cover, while we're not going to have a lot of heat today, does trap a little bit of it in and help out. Beautiful blue skies over Television City right now with temperatures much, much cooler than what we've had past couple of days. Still sitting at 51 in Iola, 56 in Joplin. Our high points being a pair of, we'll throw Nowata and Veneta in there. We don't talk about you too much, 61 and 59. But the wind tracker, as it moves in from the north-northwest, feeding us that cold front and a 24-hour temperature change that is not as bad as what we had this morning, but still a good 15-degree difference of what we're seeing in Lamar and Girard, and 14 degrees cooler in both Carthage and Neosho. Now, as far as the Skywatch storm tracker goes, we take off the sweeping radar. You've got to get up to the far northeast of us to even find cloud cover and precipitation, the result of a nice high pressure system that's moved in. And so while the cold front creeps in, we'll still be able to make it up into the low to mid 60s here later on this afternoon, say in between 3 and 4 o'clock being our peak heating times. We do have some changes coming. There's your cloud cover, Tanya. Yeah. Now, when we do the morning show tomorrow, oh, you and I are going to find it. We'll be fine. Because as we approach sunrise, look what clears off. And we're back up into the 70s for Friday. Then Saturday, oh, here comes the rain. We got some thunderstorm activity that's going to roll through from the west. A 7-day forecast shows you why we get those thunderstorms on both Saturday and Sunday. The instability caused by our huge warm-up. Coming up here in just a little bit, let's talk about those temperature changes created by our cold front. Also, too, break down the thunderstorm activity. And did you know that October through the 20th through the 23rd are kind of what should be magical days in the 4 states? But we're not there yet.
Magical days in the 4 states. That's exciting.
You like cooler temperatures.
Okay. I do.
Me, I look at that map and I go,
I mean, I don't want it to be winter yet, but I like when you can turn off the AC and the heater.
well, I'm going to tell you why we're way behind schedule.
Yes, we are. All right, thanks, Michael. Topping Nation Watch, an update on the investigation into the killing of Gabby Petito. Brian Laundrie, Gabby's fiance and only person of interest in the case, has been missing for more than a month. But yesterday, searchers found his notebook and backpack, along with suspected human remains in a Florida nature reserve. Police had suspected that Laundrie was hiding near that area. His family's attorney says there's a strong probability that the remains are Laundrie, but it could take a week or more to positively identify them. Steve Bannon, the former aide to President Trump, could soon be facing criminal charges for refusing to comply with the congressional committee investigating the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. Skyler Henry has more details from Capitol Hill.
The House will be in order.
The House is preparing to vote on whether to hold Steve Bannon in contempt of Congress because he refuses to comply with a subpoena to testify about his role in the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol.
According to published reports, Bannon had specific knowledge about the events of January 6th before they occurred and had multiple roles relevant to the attack and very outspoken about it.
Bannon claims he doesn't have to comply because President Trump has asserted executive privilege, even though Bannon didn't work for the president at the time.
Mr. Bannon's and Mr. Trump's privilege arguments do, however, appear to reveal one thing. They suggest that President Trump was personally involved in the planning and execution of January 6th.
Republican leaders are urging their members to vote no on the contempt vote, saying the committee's subpoenas aren't legally justified.
I think you're seeing most members get tired of the witch hunts and the games. Let's focus on policies that affect everyday families right now, instead of these partisan witch hunts that they want to keep going on.
Democrats have enough votes to hold Mr. Bannon in contempt, even if most Republicans vote no. The Department of Justice would then need to decide whether to press charges against the Trump ally.
The Department of Justice will do what it always does in such circumstances. It will apply the facts and the law and make a decision consistent with the principles of prosecution.
Ultimately, the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia would make the decision on whether to prosecute, but Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson is trying to delay that decision with a hold on the nominee to fill that position. Johnson claims the January 6th attackers are being treated far worse than people protesting for justice in the wake of the George Floyd killing. Skyler Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The acting U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia can still take action even if the president's nominee for the position is blocked in the Senate. Well, another Oklahoma Republican is leaving the party to take on Governor Kevin Stitt. Former State Senator Irvin Yin, an Oklahoma City doctor, announced he will run as an independent. Dr. Yin is the second GOP elected official to leave the party. Republican State Superintendent Joy Hoffmeister announced earlier this month she is changing her party affiliation to Democrat and plans to run against Stitt. On Tuesday, Yin said, quote, "The Oklahoma GOP has left me." He says he disagrees with the state party's opposition to the mask and vaccine mandates and the position of some party officials that the 2020 election was stolen from former President Donald Trump. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, we meet a man who's had more than 500 fake social media accounts created with his face, accounts used in dating scams and other online cons. And later, we're making loaf pan mac and cheese in the Mr. Food Test kitchen. Con artists are using real people's names and photos without their knowledge to create fake social media profiles. From April to June this year, Facebook removed more than 1.7 billion fake accounts from its site. Dr. Tara Narula shows us how scam artists are causing big problems for people, including someone very close to her.
This is Petty Officer Mike Sensi and his dog Lucy. But go online and it's difficult to find Mike Sensi.
Do you have any idea how many fake Mikes there may be out there using your picture?
Too many. I would probably say, 500-600 over the different social media platforms.
About 5 or 6 years ago, he started seeing his real name and images used on fake social media accounts for dating scams and other online cons.
Every single day I get a message from somebody who has been, duped out of money.
And he's not alone. One night, my husband received an Instagram message from a woman in Brazil. She said she was speaking with a man calling himself Ryan, but later realized something was wrong, and it was. The photos were of my husband and my kids, and they were being used for an apparent scam.
How easy is it to create a fake account?
It's really easy. It's a little too easy.
Issy Lepowski is chief correspondent for the tech news website Protocol.
So let's pick a username.
She showed us how to create an account using just an email address, fake name, and the image of one of our CBS News producers.
Okay, and here's Randy Lewis, 555-212.
And here we are.
And while reporting fake accounts on Instagram is easy,
to go up to these 3 dots right here, you're going to click report user.
And that's it.
That's it.
Mike Sensi says it doesn't always work.
When it first started happening, Instagram was really good about deleting the profiles, but it kind of went away. I'll report on myself, and they literally message back and say, oh, they're not doing anything wrong, we can't take the profile down.
Instagram told us, quote, claiming to be another person on Instagram violates our community guidelines, and we have a dedicated team that's tasked with detecting and blocking these kinds of scams. Dr. Tara Narula, CBS News, New York.
Still to come on the KOAM News at Noon, Mr. Food.
Mac and cheese so good, you'll be saying, hot diggity dog. You're not going to want to miss how easy this is.
But first, Michael Hayslip returns with your complete forecast.
We spent a good deal of our Thursday talking about the cold front that moved in, but just want to kind of break it down from a mathematical perspective. The fact that, our average high this time of year is 69, and even this afternoon, we'll be around in between 65 and 67 degrees. It's because it's really been so warm this October, something that we touched on yesterday. And remember, I always like to say, could be worse. How about that record low of 27 degrees dating back to 1987? At that point in time, even for those of you that like the cooler temperatures, it's been absolutely glorious. Blue sky, a whole bunch of sunshine, sitting at 56 right now. We have seen the northwest wind pick up. We're really going to roll about 5 to 10 miles per hour for the most part. We're in kind of a time being right now where 10 to 15 miles per hour is not out of the realm of possibility. And that's what's really cooling us off, because as the wind moves in from up here, that's why we've got only 51 in Iola. And of course, it's going to die off as it gets down to the southeast, where you've got the high 50s ranging from Neosho, Anderson, and Cassville, Miami sitting at 58 as well. We're not going to have any tremendous gusting winds. Those are all going to stay out to the west right there. But like I say, we are kicking up to double digits there in Independence and Chanute. 24-hour temperature change compared to where we were at this point in time at 12:16 on a Wednesday. We've had a 13-degree drop. Well, nationally speaking, that's pretty impressive. In fact, earlier, about 9 a.m., we were the national leader. Joplin saw a drop of close to 25 degrees. Now, everybody up on the Great Lakes, they can stake their claim to it. But here's what happened and why they're a little bit cooler than us, because the cold front has now dropped down into the southeastern portion of the United States, and with the high pressure hanging just to the west of us, that's why we've got all that sunshine right there. You can just take that dividing line and see exactly how the cold front is pressed up just to the Mississippi on portions of St. Louis, and eventually it will keep on dropping down to the southeast. Now, one thing of note when we talk about the national perspective, of course, high pressure helps us out, but also too, it gets really cold when you lose that cloud cover. Really cold to the point where they've got frost advisories and freeze warnings from northern Kansas up through Nebraska, Iowa, and also portions of Minnesota and Wisconsin. So what does that mean? Well, actually, we should be right there with them. I'm going to break down this map right here. This is Missouri's first frost or freeze. This is why I was telling Tanya, hey, April 20th through the 23rd, kind of some magical days for us, because we should have already developed our first frosts of the season. Come down here into southern southwest Missouri, October 20th. This riding the line right here, that's about October 23rd, which we're pushing up on. We're not going to get close to it. How about Kansas? What do we got out there? Well, they kind of call us Zone 9. Well, that should have started October 21st, and we may see one before the 31st, that is for sure, but we haven't come close as of yet. And in Oklahoma, see this blue right here? Well, that should be about October 21st, 22nd. Move over toward Washington and Newada County. That should be getting close to November. So fact of the matter is, we talk about how abnormally warm our October has been, and it truly has kept us out of the fray of having to worry about the plants so far. Just reiterating this morning, everybody's like, do we need to bring them in? Do we need to bring them in? No, we got more rain coming, and we're going to have 80s here by the time we get into the weekend. Tomorrow, here's the cloud cover that moves in overnight. Tomorrow morning, still going to be chilly, but tomorrow afternoon, we're back into the 70s. Let's talk about Saturday. Here's where it gets a little interesting. Thunderstorm activity going to roll through early in the morning. Let's back that up. Take a look at our time frame right here. As we're looking at, 6, 7 o'clock right there in the morning is when we get started. Roll us through even into the early afternoon hours on the eastern edge of southwest Missouri. And that's going to provide some pretty heavy rain right there. And then for Saturday night into Sunday morning, we've got the additional threat of thunderstorm activity. But you'll notice the abnormally warm temperatures as we press into next week, as we'll be up into the mid 80s. But Tanya, once again, it really is that warmth that, number one, creates that instability for the thunderstorm activity. And number two, has me thinking, by the time we get to Halloween, we're going to be ranking second or third all-time record for daily highs in October.
Maybe it'll finally be the year at Halloween where you don't have to wear a coat over your costume.
You and I, with the kids, you and I have done that
Yeah,
many a time.
definitely.
Absolutely, we have.
Definitely. All right, thanks, Michael. We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Corporal Lawrence Tapana Jr. in the U.S. Army. The soldier from Webb City served tours in Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and in Kuwait with the 212th Military Police. He earned a number of honors, among them the Kuwait Liberation Medal, the Overseas Service Ribbon, and the Expert Marksmanship Medal. To Corporal Lawrence Tapana Jr., we thank you, our four-state hero. Tired of the same old mac and cheese? Today, Howard shows us a simple slice and serve version in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
This is the time of year when we start to crave comfort foods. And in my book, nothing is more comforting than macaroni and cheese. So we decided to take our everyday shortcut mac and cheese and bring it up a notch. What we ended up with is a cheesy weeknight favorite that is uniquely satisfying. We start by cooking the macaroni from a couple of boxes of quick cooking mac and cheese. After it's tender, we drain it, and in the same pot, we add some melted butter, the cheese packs that come in the box, along with some dry mustard. We mix this well and stir in a few beaten eggs along with a good amount of shredded cheddar. And now for the part that you didn't see coming, we toss in some hot dogs that we cut into half-inch pieces. This goes into a loaf pan before we pop it into the oven to set up. And right before it's done, we'll top it with more cheese and back into the oven it goes. When your gang sees how ooey gooey this hearty, sliceable mac and cheese is, you better stand back. And don't let the fact that this starts with a shortcut mac and cheese kid ya, because this is really tasty. To get the recipe for our loaf pan mac and cheese, simply visit our website. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a weeknight favorite way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Might mix it up and use something besides hot dogs. Here's a look at those four-state market prices.
Great looking afternoon, albeit a little bit cooler than usual. Friday, back into the 70s. Get ready for thunderstorm activity early Saturday morning.
What do we have coming up tonight at 5?
Well, at 5, a day after the Food and Drug Administration authorizes booster shots for millions of people who received the Moderna and Johnson & Johnson vaccines, a CDC advisory panel meets today and is expected to vote on official booster recommendations. We'll have the latest in Health Watch. Plus, your favorite grocery item could be difficult to find. We'll speak with a local grocery store owner about a shortage of products. And Mercy Hospital celebrates 125 years of history. Hope you join us for those stories. A lot more, of course. It's all coming up today right here on KOAM News at 5.
All right, thank you, Dow. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at Noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.